It's deep, it's dark, but it's life. So dark, so deep, the secrets that we keep. Down in the trench, we wander in eternal space. Men forget their passion. All is desolation and the dread. Some hid their eyes and wept, some rested their chins upon fists clenched. Yet others hurried to and fro, for another battle with the Smurfs has approached. Let's get into it.
You're tuned into news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
Good evening to you, wherever you might be, and welcome to a special Thursday edition of News Across the Galaxy's The Midweek Show, coming at you live from the state of the art NAG Studios underwater base, which, after last night's loss to the Colorado Rapids, has fallen deeper into what is now a bottomless void at the depths of the MLS table. In fact, I think this is the first time ever, Bryant, that we are doing two shows on the same day because last night we wrapped up like around 12:40, 12:30, something like that. So there you go, two NAG shows in the same day. Yay! I'm your host, Edgar Zuniga, with my NAG bro on the ones and twos, Bryant Lobos. On tonight's show, that's right, baby. On tonight's show, we are going to discuss the 2025 MLS salary guide. Just a little bit more. We talked about it last night, but we have stats now. Talk a bit of MLS news and preview this weekend's LA Galaxy Magic and San Jose Earthquakes. And to help us do all that, like I just said, coming at us live from the Smurf Village, please give a warm welcome to good friend of the show, the host of the What's Shakin podcast, Saz Sarabi.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Saz.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, it's been a big churn of events in the last month since I've seen you guys. You guys have about one more win than I think you would have thought you would have had on the season last time I was on the
Okay. Oh my god. No, it's pretty bad, man. It's worse than we thought. I mean, it gets worse every week, but we had that little glimmer of hope, and no, snatched away.
Yeah, which I think is even better for us because it's like our biggest sense of hope and what's kind of revived our team a little bit is none other than Preston Judd, who you guys so graciously handed to us, and we're like, oh, thank God he's gone, this, that, the other.
Oh god, Preston Judd, a name that will live in infamy over here. Well, buddy, how you been, man? How you been? I know the last time I saw you was at the dig, and you had answered a call to a challenge, right?
Yeah.
To drive all the way down from San Jose to the game because Christian Espinosa told you what? Can you tell us?
Yeah, he said if I drove down to the game, he'd give me his jersey, and he is a man of his word. I have a photo of us. I made a fake little jersey, and we did like a jersey exchange after the game. Yeah, and you know what? I got a really funny story about this. Actually, it's gonna sound really creepy, but we'll pretend it's funny. So it's really cool about PayPal Park. That's where we play. After the game, in the back lot is where all the players park, so you can actually like talk to all the players after the game. And Christian's usually really good about always coming out. And I call him Senor Dior because he always smells so good. I said he's the best smelling player we've ever had. And like I always assume because like they shower, they put all their cologne on, but Christian finds a way to always smell way better than everyone. So we've always said he's the best smelling player. So I get this jersey and it's a bit sweaty. I'm like, whatever. I go back to my car, I throw it in the car, and like the windows are up, and I'm driving to my friend's house because that's where I'm staying in LA for the night. It's about like a 30-minute drive, and after 30 minutes, any musk or anything would start to go in the car, and like I'm expecting this thing to stink, but all of a sudden it starts smelling phenomenal in my car. It's like an air freshener in here. This thing
Oh
still
wow.
smells amazing. I like he is just a walking scent of cologne. It is crazy.
No, that makes me laugh because when I used to cover the team way back in the when they started, I remember I would go into the dressing room to do my interviews, and a lot of times the players are wrapping up their showers or getting dressed, and you see a lot of players just get lotion and rub it on themselves or just spray cologne on themselves. And I remember I think it was Kobe Jones. He was spraying some cologne on himself, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I should try that too. So what I started doing is every time I would use the gym or I would play sports or whatever. Afterwards, you take a shower. I'd be in the locker room. I spray myself, and then put my shirt on or whatever I was wearing. And you know what? The compliments started rolling in. I remember I used to hang out with this sorority, and some of the girls be like, "Wow, that's great. You smell nice." And like, "You always smell nice." And I was like, "Yeah." And this one girl even told me once, "You're like the nicest smelling guy I've ever met." I'm like, damn.
That's
I
funny.
mean, when you're surrounded by a bunch of a bunch of dirty fools, I guess you smell nice, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, for real, for real.
Oh man. So as you can see, I'm wearing my Run the Jewels shirt, right? I went to the Run the Jewels and Wu Tang show last Friday. It was amazing. I finally got a chance to see Run the Jewels. I had hoped to see them way back in 2020. I had bought tickets. It was going to be at the Fox Theater in Pomona, and they have a mosh pit there. I was so pumped for that, man. And then COVID happened, and they canceled the damn show, and I never got a chance to see them. Opportunity to knock two of my favorites, out of the way. Run the Jewels, Wu Tang Clan. You know how you guys know how much I love Wu Tang. I love Run the Jewels just as much. So it was awesome. You got to see them live, Saz. I know how much you love them.
I know, yeah. It's funny. I've only been to like official concert. Like I love live music. Like whenever I hang out with my girlfriend, especially, like that's what we love to do. Not what we love to do, but something we like to do. I've only been to one of concert officially. Um, and my girlfriend surprised me with the tickets like last year. I'll give you one or a couple guesses on who it is. I bet you will not guess who it is.
Metallica?
No, no.
Oh, okay. I mean, you got to give me like a genre here at least.
Okay, genre. I will say like this person does like everything, but they're probably known for like pop or like hip hop rap.
Oh man,
No.
not Beyonce. All right, tell us who it is, Saz, because we're gonna be here all night, man.
My girlfriend got me because I really like T Pain. So she lives in Fresno and
T Pain.
yeah,
How?
she was Fresno was hosting Tequila Fest and T Pain was the headliner. Dude,
Uh huh.
he is so good live. Like, cause like he'll turn off the auto tune, like actually sing for a bit. But we joke that he did coke right before he went on stage. He had so much
Oh my god.
energy. He's a break dancer too, so he was like break dancing on stage doing hella sick moves, and he was like singing all the classics, "Buy You a Drink," "Low," like everything. It was so sick. Yeah, yeah, he's phenomenal live. I would go see him again. Like, I'm
Dude,
not, yeah,
T Pain is one of the people I interviewed when I was at Dub.
no way.
Yes, yeah, and it's amazing to me because I hadn't heard from him in years, right? And then I see him. I heard that he did a cover of War Pigs by Black Sabbath, which
Dude,
was
yeah.
amazing.
And they responded to it. They said this is the best cover I've ever seen of this.
Yeah, Ozzy loved it. So yeah, no, he's very talented. He's a really cool guy. Um, it's somebody who's not like shoehorned by by the kind of music that people know him for. He's always experimenting, doing different things, and that's what musicians should do, right? Expand their horizons. But that's cool, man. You got to see him.
Yeah.
Well, dude, here's hoping you get to see Run the Jewels one
Yeah,
day,
I
man.
know. They were
Hopefully.
just in SF like a night or two ago too, but I didn't it was I got too late of a notice.
Ah, well, let's talk about the Quakes. What's happened to the Quakes since they beat the Galaxy at that in that match at the Dig? I remember you were there. I got to meet some Quakes fans before the game. That weird, the interesting family who were actually Revolution fans, but were
Yeah.
also cheering for the Quakes because they called them Quakes. They call them Revs West.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was kind of weird, but they seemed really nice. And you were there with them too, right at the beginning of the match.
Yeah, I mean I just saw other Quakes fans and I'm like, yeah, okay, home, safety, a safety net. The power in numbers. And then I ran into someone who like is in my section during the games, like where I stand, where I like sit for the game. So I said hey to him and then we talked for a bit. Um yeah, that was a really cool experience. Got to talk to a bunch of the players before the game. Um, some of them were like really pissy moods. I'm like, oh, maybe they just logged in and I got the starting lineup and saw they weren't starting. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes a little more sense.
So what's happened to the Quakes since then? Because just like the LA Galaxy, the Quakes have also been on an extended road trip, limited amount of matches in the month of June, just like LA Galaxy. But while the Galaxy keeps sinking, the Quakes seem to be doing pretty good for themselves, right? Especially last night's game. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. We're definitely tired. I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull up the thing and an ad popped up. We are definitely tired. I have our last couple results. Because I said these next three games, including LA, were huge for us as far as morale, and pushing and getting the team momentum. That's what I kept saying about our team. What we've been lacking is getting momentum and getting a good run of things because it kind of was always a feeling of like when we scored, when are they going to score again? When are we going to lose the lead? Not if we're going to lose. It's like when are we going to lose? They're like, okay, we won a couple games. Now when are we going to lose? It was never a if. It was always when. So I said if we can go to LA, get a dominant win, I don't care how bad they are, and then we get a good win versus St. Louis, who we haven't beat yet. That'd be great. And then we beat Portland every game this year so far. So if we go into Portland and for the first time in our history beat them in Portland, I think that could really propel our guys. Didn't proceed to go that way. We go into St. Louis and we play a like B team lineup. We are tired, and it showed. It showed that we are B team lineup. Some of the guys did okay, but it was a hard watch. And Earl Edwards, who I was telling you before the game, our goalkeeper, who like if you just shoot on him a score, had the best game of his career versus you guys, which was phenomenal for us, and then went right back to himself. So we lose 2-1 to St. Louis. It's not the end of the world. We go to Portland Timbers, and for the second year in a row, we are doing good against them, and we get a red card that, like, unanimously, even the Portland fans are like, that was not a red card. Um, and then, of course, they score, and then our guy now, actually, he's our guy. We're taking credit for him. Preston Judd. He scores a late winner, and you know what? It's not the last time he got the assist versus you guys. Um, and he had this little comment about like, "Oh, we're gritty," and he was trying to be like funny after an interview, and it's turned into someone made an account calling us Grit FC, and like all the players like laughed and loved it, and it got to the point where they had Preston wear a Grit FC shirt and go meet Daniel Cormier from the UFC in his gym, and then they did like some like promo and stuff there.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, it was sick. So like we've been like super gritty since, and we were able to like wild down a man, um, score a late winner. That was Ian Harkes who got the red, and this one actually got rescinded. Like it was so bad, like because I feel like there's a lot of times where you get a bad red card, you send to the league, and they're like, oh well, whatever, blah 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 blah. It was so bad. The league was like, "Hey, our bad!" Like immediately, like almost within the like 12 hours, they were like, "Yeah, he'll be good for the next game." Um, we go to FC Dallas, and I gotta be honest, we were playing poor. We were playing poor. We get they score early. Our offense was looking all right, but our defense was awful. Like, and that's been like the problem this year. If you look at us, we're scoring hella goals, but we're leaking almost as many. We come back, we get the lead. They come and score, and then our young kid Bo Larue, who's from San Jose, grew up in San Jose, supported the team, so played for San Jose State, signed a pro contract and was in the starting lineup 2 days later, has been a phenomenal for us all year in midfield. Scores a banger of a goal. He shoots the ball and like it doesn't look like it's going that fast. And every time it touches the keeper hand, their hand just like breaks and it goes through. So he deserved one. They proceed to get a red card. They proceed to get another red card a couple minutes later. It's hard to be down a goal and do that. And then Mark Anthony K taps in one at the end. So again, to that grit, it kind of went to that. But yeah, our defense is awful, and I think we made some terrible, terrible tactical decisions when we played together. For actually, that game we played against you was one of the worst games I've ever seen. I think both teams like looked like not even semi-pro, like they looked like a Sunday pickup league. We made some really bad defensive decisions versus you guys, and it looks like we've kind of kept some of those guys and some of those decisions. And it's pain still. It's pain still every single time, and I'm actually scared for this next game and how painful will be.
Well, I don't know. It's scary to watch LA Galaxy, to be honest, because um, it's one of those things that drive a man to drink, you know. But We have a super chat, by the way. Well, we see Adam. We see your super chat. We're gonna ask that question a little bit later on. So let's put a pin on that for now. But thank you so much. We're gonna get back to it. We're
Yeah, that's a
gonna
great
definitely
question. Yeah,
address
and
it.
it's something we will be talking about. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Um, I was gonna ask you. The thing you mentioned about Preston Judd saying, that there's grit and all that. Isn't this the kind of stuff that is builds the identity of a club, right? And this is one of the things that winning teams have in common. Even teams that struggle but still manage to play hard and go down fighting, it's something that defines them, that have that grit, or something that they can form an identity around. And it seems like the team is building this around. You said Judd. It's kind of like echoes of the Goonies, isn't it?
No, 100%. And that's like, I think there were some jokes about it, like New Age Goonies. I'm about to give a really bad example of that. I 100% agree with you. Like, there are teams, like when you look at the greats, it doesn't matter. Like, they're usually really good on paper, but they have that X factor. They just have that, like, you just feel they're going to go in. And again, this is going to be a really bad example because they just lost. But the Indiana Pacers, this time around, like, they were one Achilles tear away from winning the whole thing, and they had
Yeah,
he was voted the most
yeah,
overrated player. They were the underdogs in, like, what was it, like 17 of 23 games, and I watched, like, all the games with my dad, and I said the Pacers are like roaches because it doesn't matter what you do, they're always just kind of there, and if they're kind of there, they're in the game. They just stick around to
yeah.
the end and they get there, and they just had that extra. They had that belief, and that's important for teams because I interviewed Jackson Ewell, our old captain, and his words, his exact words, and that's why I brought it up earlier, was I just taught I didn't phrase it like this, but I kind of did. I'm like, what's it like being on like an ass team? Like what's it like and having to be the captain? Um, and he was pretty much saying like, dude, we just have like a feeling that we were gonna concede. It didn't matter what it was, and it's like trying to lead us through that and break that, and like it's hard because you can only give so many hoorah raw speeches. Like, and
Right.
that's why I said these last couple games are important for us. You just need to see something go through. So it starts as someone just making a "oh, we're gritty" joke, scoring a late goal. Oh, the gritty guy said that. Oh wait, he got another late one. Wait, guys, we are kind of gritty. Yeah, let's fight. And like, look, Preston Judd's biggest complaint. You guys said it. Our fans said it. He can't finish, and that's kind of damning when you're a striker. The dude plays hard. I loved him coming in. I love what Bruce has done with him. You put him in for 15 minutes. He's going to push them when they're tired. If you give him a little tap on the shoulder, he's coming with an elbow in the back, like immediately. He will run his ass off. He will push everyone. And that's what you need. And that's the grit. And it's what pushes. And I think that little momentum and that confidence and the swagger and being reinforced with something good versus just conceding goals, conceding goals, conceding goals, which is something I'm sure you guys are facing now.
Oh my
It
god.
leads a team forward. So it's been great. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's interesting to see that happen with the Quakes, because it seems like for the longest time this is a team that needed some kind of identity, because they haven't really had that kind of success since the days of the Goonies. Um, but let's shift things a little bit, because I wanted to address some MLS news. Something interesting happened last night in Chicago during the match with the Fire. God, I forgot who they were playing. But if you guys haven't heard about it, pretty much what happened is that there was a group of people that brought in a Palestine flag, or multiple flags. The security tried to come down there about 3 to 4 minutes into the game to find out who had it. They couldn't see it from the top of the section, but they came down and started yelling at some people. Some people yelled back at the security staff to tell them to leave the people alone and let them enjoy the game. Um, Apparently, somebody with a Fire FC lanyard came down, talked to the guy, and it seemed to de-escalate issues. But then, partway through the second half, security came down again and started harassing the group of guys they thought had the flag. And this other gentleman who had argued with them earlier started going back and forth with them. Well, security grabbed this guy, pulled him out of the seats, and then they had him in a headlock, and his hands were on his head and his neck. Another security guard got cuffs, and as they were trying to carry him out, they smacked his head on the cement stairs, and the guy lost consciousness. People started screaming that the guy needed a medic. It was really bad. And then Later on, Fire FC rep decided to come back and try to grab photos of the people that are holding the Palestine flags after the incident, and it got really bad. It got back to the point where the Chicago Fire actually put out a statement. Um, and to give you a little bit more context, we I contacted our buddy Nick Glass, who covers Chicago Fire, to ask him about the incident, and he shared some thoughts. I'm gonna share with those with you guys right now. Let me just bring it up. I thought I had it up already. Give me a second. So we asked him, what's going on. He said, it's a group called Monterrey Security. That's the one that handles security at Soldier Field. He said Monterrey Security has been assaulting fans for decades. The owner thinks is a former Chicago cop and has relatives who are local politicians. When he started his security company, he essentially was guaranteed the contracts with the city, including Soldier Field and the Fire Stadium in Bridgeview. All nepotism, no training. They've been sued dozens of times for civil rights violations, battery, injuries, etc. They racially profile people and harass people looking for ways to arrest them or kick them out, which is just another reason why Chicago Fire wants to control their own stadium. So this is a really bad look for the league, especially during such a time when there's so many very sensitive issues that are happening in both, I mean, locally at a national level and across the world. What are your thoughts on this, Saz, if you want to share them? Oh no, he's muted.
Good
There we
looks.
go.
Good looks. I'll start with this isn't just a Chicago thing. I mean, I know we had an incident with a security person, and like sometimes like it does, like especially some more of the hostile games, like some of the times the security, I guess they get themselves too riled up. Um, this is crazy though. This is like crazy. Like even if was a solo incident and not like a history of things, this is absurd. Like your whole thing is to de-escalate as security. No one was fighting. No one was doing anything. You escalated. You brought it up, and it's I I, I won't get too I'll stay away from the politics side of it. I mean, just like the whole situation's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and then also that brings us full circle to one of the issues that's been affecting here us in LA. It's the whole thing with the ICE raids, which still continue. They may not be getting the same kind of attention that they did when it first started, the first week of people protesting. There are still protests. People are still protesting, maybe not in large numbers, but in certain pockets of the city. Um, just yesterday, I think it was, or a couple of days ago, a young woman was being dropped off by her parents to work in downtown LA, and she's a U.S. citizen. And as soon as she got dropped off, guys in these unmarked vehicles got out. They surrounded her and they dragged her away. And to the horror of her parents, who were watching it unfold in front of them, and they were yelling, "She's a U.S. citizen! She's a U.S. citizen! What are you doing?" And they took her away. Um, I I'm really happy that well, not happy. I'm very glad, relieved that LA Galaxy doesn't have any home matches in June, because it's been such an insane, crazy turn of events in the city of Angels that during over the last 30 to 40 days. And not having any matches makes me wonder what the atmosphere is going to be like when we do have a match, which happens to be on Independence Day. So the timing is very interesting. But as a result of what's been going on, the annual Galaxy road trip to PayPal Park has been canceled for this year. It's something that a lot of Galaxy fans look forward to. A lot of people will say all kinds of mean things about the earthquakes, but in the end, you ask people, and they still love the rivalry. They love the Cali Clasico, and it's an opportunity to travel upstate and get do a road trip. Which in England, everybody gets to do a road trip, but England's the size of California, so here, this is one of those opportunities where you could travel, somewhere, take a bus, and not have to fly up there. And we're not going to be able to do it this year for LA Galaxy. That said, I wanted to ask you, as far as San Jose is concerned, have there been any issues with ice in your local community that you're aware of?
I live a little outside of San Jose. My community's fine. Like we haven't really had anything. Neighboring Bay Area communities, we've had like lingers in Oakland, and we've had like people are really on it. Like the second one is spotted, there's been something. Oakland's had a couple, Berkeley's had a couple, as far as I know. It's not as bad as my girlfriend. She lives in Fresno, which like if you haven't been to Fresno, no need to, but um, I'd say it's like a 95% Hispanic population, and also I believe the biggest farm producer for the well, I know for the United States, but possibly one of the ones in the world. Um, there are a lot of legal immigrants that work there, and but every day, every day there are an insane amount of ICE patrols there. The fields look empty, like people are too scared to go out. It's even like the legal people, and legal, you know what I mean. Again, I'll stay away from the political side of it, but it's been it has been a very, very I mean, even to build off the Chicago thing and then even Palestine and all that, it just seems like people don't give a shit about us as people. It seems like, who cares about you or you or you or you? Like, um, it's I mean, I'm 24, turning 25 now. It's like the bright lights of childhood are turning off. You become more of an adult. You start to pay things, and it's just like everyone says a good start, but man, it is just like it looks like no one cares about each other. It looks like AI is taking over. It looks like money's taking over. It just like it's hard to wake up with like a smile and be positive without like either completely ignoring it or trying to just lie through it. It's tough to talk about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of times, when you hear people say, "Oh, no, everything's fine," or "Watch, things are going to get better," uh, and these people probably voted for the current administration, and I think to myself, these people probably live in a cave, like a mental cave, and they are comfortable living in that mental cave because it's like an echo chamber for like their own thoughts, their own prejudices, whatever beliefs that have been ingrained in them because of generations of just stereotyping. And that's not the world. That's not
Ye-
the world. You got to get out of that mental cave. You got to get out there. But to somebody who's never been outside of a cave, and this is something I learned in one of my philosophy courses, is you have a person who's always lived in a cave, that's all they've ever known, and then you have somebody who comes from outside the cave and tries to explain to them that there's another world out there,
Mhm.
and that there's something much more broad than just living in this perpetual darkness. These people have a very hard time wrapping their minds around that, and even a more difficult time taking that first step towards maybe emerging from that mental cave.
Yeah, and like I mean, people don't like to listen. I mean, it's even like this. This will probably hit home with your viewers. I'm Persian, Iranian. LA, they call it Tehrangelis because there's so many Persians. Like they all migrate there. I don't know how we all end up there. There's a Persian square. I went there. There was phenomenal food there. Um, like everything that's happening in Iran right now. Like it's like all the and to your point, it's like all these people with their opinions coming. I'm like, you didn't. First off, you aren't even pronouncing the country right. Like, and second, it's like you guys didn't know anything about this like 2 days ago. Like, so why are we all of a sudden experts on this country? Like, and it's just the same thing with all of this. It's and like you said, it's like you grow up with the thoughts and you just go through it. Um, I keep using funny, but like that, I think you get what I mean. But yeah, the Iranian one's a little more Iran one's more fun to me because like I being Persian, growing up and hearing the stories and seeing it, um, seeing all the opinions out on it. So I get exactly what you mean.
Nah, it's just been crazy, man. And that's the thing that's sad because we want to just focus on our football, right? On our MLS and our teams. But the politics and all this other stuff keeps creeping into this, and it takes some of the fun away from wanting to attend a match and just shut your mind off for those 90 minutes and enjoy the game with your pals and just enjoying being at the stadium, right?
Yeah.
Um, but you know what? let's turn the page on that for now. Let's put a pin on it. Let's talk about the 2025 MLS salary guide. It's something that Eddie and I discussed in length last night as far as LA Galaxy is concerned. Um, and it's interesting. And to look at some of the numbers. If you guys haven't had a chance to see them, uh, earlier today I was on a conversation with Ivan. You know, he does the LAFC pod, and we were discussing the the numbers. And we're like, I asked him, hey, how much you think Messi's earning? He's like, it must be a lot, right? I'm like, buddy, it's like more than $20 million a year, right? So you're like, wow, that's a lot, right? But
And that's just what's
hey,
reported.
yeah, that's Messi, right? I mean, it's he's a goat, right? He's one of the greatest players ever. Yeah, he's up there with Pele, Maradona, all those guys. So who's number two and number three, right? Well, I did the research, right? And number two, one of the biggest flops in MLS as far as the DP is concerned, Lorenzo Insigne, at $15.4 million, and then it drops again to number three, which has Atlanta United fans shaking their head because they shelled out nearly $8 million to bring back Miguel Almiron, and he's been a disappointment since he rejoined the team. Wow, um, that's that's something about this salary guide. It makes you wonder, like, wow, I mean, how where does those money come from? And those teams, like I said, Atlanta, they spent so much money in the offseason, and now their season is like on the brink of disaster. And then you have TFC. I mean, Toronto's not that good either. What about from the quick side of things? Did you have a chance to look at that, and what do you
Yeah, and
think about it?
yeah, I did, and I had rough estimate on some of these numbers, and some I don't want to say they're outdated. There are a couple guys who literally just signed contracts. Um, I'll start with saying I'm not mad at any of the numbers from their perspective. I'm not even someone who gets mad when someone goes to like China when they're like 20 and gets their money, because it's like if you're like, for example, like let's give Oscar for example, that from Chelsea. This man came from like the poorest of poor in Brazil and just got like 18 generations worth of wealth that they could all be billionaires for. Go get that, right? Go get it. These places don't care about you. They pay you, and the second you're not worth them, they're gonna cut you off and not talk to you anymore. Go get your bag. I'm fine with that. What I am frustrated about after looking over this is the decision making from the front office, because I do not know what they're thinking. I'll go over some of the highlight ones. That I mean, look, the Christian Espinoza, pay him whatever the hell you want to pay him. Pay him whatever. I don't care what that number is. Good. Daniel, our goalkeeper, that the one that's when he's healthy, I don't care what that number is. Cool, pay him. And then I go down and I go to Bruno Wilson, who is one of our highest earners, getting a guaranteed $1.2 million per year. He's played like 12 games for us. So it's things like that. And then we have, let's see, we have Jack Skane, who I'm a really big fan of. I like him. I've talked to him personally a couple times. He's earning 175,000, which like I'm not going to get into the whole like, oh, what is good pay, what is not. Like, go ahead, make as much as you want, and they're sacrificing their bodies, all their time, this, that, the other. I'm not talking about is he worth $175. I'm just purely talking about if you look at all the players on our team and what our like budget is, how we're dividing it. He doesn't play. He doesn't play. I think he should get more game time. I think he's a really valuable asset for us. I think he could do, but he doesn't play, and to spend $175,000 on that is absurd to me. Also, I didn't know if this is how you want the thing to go, but it's how I interpret it. But we have David Romney, who's been good, right? And and same with Rodriguez. They've been good, but both just under $1 million. We have Pellegrino, who, when we sign him, I totally get that one, right? He's about 750,000. Norwegian League top goal scorer in Europe, walking highlight reel, has been awful for us. So that's got to get off the books as soon as quick. So and then we have a couple other kids who have played like a couple games, if even, and they're like in the higher 100,000s, 200,000s. And then we got some guys who've been like playing for a while, like been on the squad for a while, but don't play. They're making a lot of money. And then we got some guys that are like actually playing. But yeah, Bo LaRue, who He's making 80,000. But again, I can understand that one because it's like you just signed this kid from college. You didn't think he was going to be the star he is. But it's you go up and down the roster, and it just I can't logically make it make sense. Again, I don't care how much money they're making, but I think it's weird that we know how much money they're making as well. But to if you just look at the budget and like you can even make it lollipops and he gets this many lollipops and this guy gets this many and this many, like it's not the lollipops aren't adding up to me.
What's interesting today? I was in an LA Kings chat group, and somebody said that the NHL is uh, discussing the possibility of changing some of the rules of how they deal with player contracts, where they're going to limit player contracts to 1 year. And
Yes.
I wonder how that's going to affect not just the NHL, and whether or not some of the other major leagues are going to look at that and be like, hey, that's a very novel concept, because sometimes teams will splurge on a big contract for somebody to stay for so many years, and nobody's going to stay playing at a high level for a long period of time unless they're like one of the elite players in league history. But then also you run that risk of like, what if somebody gets injured, and then you lose that investment. So there's some athletes that live by that. They go by 1 year contracts, and that's just the way that they like it, because they figure they can max it out every year. But I wonder, what if that ever happened to MLS? How that would change the whole landscape across the league.
I think you get some guys who I think it really makes people want to perform more and need to perform more. I think you guys will get some guys that get really anxious and they need the security and now they don't have it. I think it becomes a much bigger tic tac toe game. Like you said, if there's an injury or this guy is bad, do we back him with another year of good money? But then how do we justify with the other guys, especially when we have a salary cap? How do I do this, that, the other? It becomes a little more of a chess game with that. It'd be interesting. As a Quakes fan, and when we're historically bad and we somehow trick people like Chicho and Joseph to come play for us for a couple years, I feel like I enjoy those multi-year contracts. Like, no, 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 you're stuck with us. You're stuck with us. You
Yeah.
can't leave. So that would be a negative for me.
Well, now let's address the super chat right here by Adam, because we're about to get into all star rosters and all star snubs. Let's hear the music, Bryant. There we go. Adam, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He asks, Saz, were you guys surprised that Christian Espinosa didn't make the All Star game and Brandon Vasquez did? Saz,
Um,
this is
for
your
yeah,
stage.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. For the sake of me still wanting to enjoy soccer, I only watch the Earthquakes. I cannot watch any more MLS than that. I can barely watch the Earthquakes. So I don't know how good Brandon Vasquez has been or has not been. Um,
Well, real quick, he does add, and I can attest to this. Vasquez, since signing that big contract with Austin, only has 5 goals, and they paid a lot of money to get him over from Monterrey in Liga MX.
yeah. So this is where it gets like, how much do we want to talk soccer about it, and how much do we want to talk like realistic politics? And Messi could have been injured all year. He's making the roster. Um, they list Christian Espinoza as an attacking mid on the All Star voting, even though he has played right wing back or right wing for us all season. Never has touched the central midfielder. I would have been fine if they put him as striker over that. I It probably should have been Christian if it was anyone on our team. There were arguments of things like Bo LaRue, this, that, the other, and then my argument to it was, look, like we're in seventh at the time of like the votes and stuff. It it doesn't matter how good we're doing or how good this one kid is. If you're in seventh and you're a smaller market team, you're not getting him. Like, so then it's like, okay, let's just look at the stats. No one in our defense, right? Terrible defense. We are leading the league in every single offensive category except for one. I don't remember which one it is. And we are second in that. So to not have one of our players on offense get into the All-Star game that is what for me was frustrating. Look, I knew the Messis of the world were going to get it. I knew the names. They wanted to get the names. They want to sell the money. They wanted blah 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 blah. But to not get them on the reserves or whatever. And again, I get we're in seventh, but if you're statistically looking at it, so because for my first argument was okay, I'm fine with you not choosing this player or this player because we're seventh in the league, and then you go to stats if you want to put the stats against us. But then we go to the stats and we're dominating the league. So now it's wishy washy for both, and that's what's frustrating. Now, hear me out. I am actually really, really, really happy no one got selected because we have had
Yes.
a really tight schedule and we are visibly tired. Do not make us, especially Espinosa can handle it, but do not make any of our guys go and travel and go run on a weekend where they could just be sitting inside and relaxing. Selfishly for me. But yes, I think Christian deserved it. I'm not too surprised. I'm a little surprised just someone in our front line did not get hey, you can be a reserve for 15 minutes. Like, or you're the last coach decision guy. That
Yeah.
shocked me a little bit that we didn't get a single one. But yeah, that would be my take on it.
Who knows? Maybe Bruce told him, "Hey, don't mess with my guys. Let them rest."
They just asked him today, like, how do you feel about it? And he just kind of laughed and he's like, yeah, it was ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, but here in LA, I don't think you'll find many Galaxy fans that are arguing in favor of like any of the players making the All Star roster, um, because they, as a whole, the team has been pretty awful. And maybe the one player that might have gotten in there just by his name alone, Marco Royce, and he hasn't been great either. He's had maybe two or three matches where he's had a good performance. Maybe he's made a difference. But overall, he hasn't been the same without Ricky Puig being there in the middle with him. And he didn't make the All Star team either. And that's fine. That's fine. Because like Eddie said last night, he gets hurt just playing in regular matches
yeah,
as it is.
yeah, yeah,
And to like roll, make him go out there and play against Liga MX, and we don't know what kind of intense, how much intensity that match is going to have, but uh, you know let's say he tries to turn and all of a sudden he goes down with an injury. It's like, oh man, really?
exactly.
It's just, another
Yeah,
kick in the nuts, right?
yeah.
For this season. But yeah, thank you so much, Adam, for the question. By the way, that's it. Are there any potential transfers that the Quakes are targeting for the summer? Summer window is here, and the teams that are probably the teams that know that they're probably going to be in the playoffs are going to make that push. Right now, are looking at ways to improve the roster. Are the Quakes going to sit how they are? They're going to try to make a move.
I'd say the biggest transfer we're looking for currently is an owner. John Fisher finally, hallelujah, has announced he is going to sell the team or is looking to sell the team. Or I will. Here's what I'll say. I what
Thank you.
I
By the way, I
am.
was going to ask you about
Yeah,
that, but go ahead. Go ahead. Let him have it. Let him have the stage. 'Cause that was my next question. But go ahead, Saz.
yeah.
Address the sale of the Quakes, because a lot of people think that some people think that selling the team means that they're going to leave San Jose, and that's not what we want, right?
No, we don't want that, and I'd be kind of shocked if we did. Actually, you can't expect anything anymore. I think we'll be planted here still. Uh, I will say for everything John Fisher isn't, the one thing, the one and only thing I will give him is our tickets have been dirt cheap. Like, even though he's done a couple price raises these last couple years, they have been dirt cheap, and a lot of people have been able to attend games. And I really appreciate that, and I hope our new owner does not take that away because I've watched that happen to the Warriors. Now, the Warriors is a different story because they had success and then they decided to price out all their fans. Quakes already don't have fans. We saw with the U.S. game, if you guys watched that, when it was Trinidad and Tobago, which was, my God, that was a professional international game. I could, the three of us could have laced up.
Damn.
But it was awful.
Yeah.
No one went to the games because it was so crowded or so expensive. It was like $160 for that, which was highway robbery. And John Fisher had nothing to do with that one. But anyways, I'm excited for a new owner. I'm excited for new ownership. I'm excited for maybe that someone could push, maybe someone that's willing to spend that $15 million on a really bad signing, but at least willing to do it. Versus Chris Leach having to make home run plays on a budget, balling on a budget. Chris Leach. Um, I haven't heard any rumors. There's been the flirting rumors of Hernan Lopez leaving, and it looks like anytime he doesn't get his way, he's like posting all these videos of Argentina and all his great times he had there.
Huh.
I think the fans are pretty sick of it. Um, we haven't had a home game in like a month and a half, so I haven't really got to like talk to anyone and see anything. But yeah, there hasn't been uh, anything roaming around other than those two. There's a lot of like fans that want like things, but like as far as like official or like things I can like state on, like those are the only two I could give you.
Yeah, over here, I mean, there's really not much movement. The team doesn't have very much wiggle room as it is anyway.
Mhm.
I would be shocked if LA Galaxy suddenly announced, "Hey, we made a transfer in the summer." Everybody would be like, "But why?" The season's a wash, so just whatever. Um, but let's transition over to the game itself because we're gonna preview the match. LA Galaxy sounds like earthquakes. Formerly it sounds like Clash. The Cali Clasico. All-time records just in the regular season. Because last time we mentioned overall record, but this time just regular season. These two teams have faced each other 86 times. Galaxy have 40 wins. The Quakes have 29, with 17 draws between both teams. Obviously, the last time these two faced each other was earlier this year, just about a month ago. When Galaxy played against the Quakes, I remember Saz was saying, "I think we're gonna lose to you guys. I think we're gonna be your first loss. I mean, it's your first win." And no, no, no. LA Galaxy was very kind. This is the season of altruism in which they're going out and doing good deeds for all the other teams in the league. And they gave the Quakes a nice little 1-0 victory, and Saz got to take a nice kit home.
Yeah.
Um, this was the first time, by the way, that the Quakes beat the LA Galaxy since 2022.
Jeez.
Galaxy have beaten the Quakes now 6 of the last 8 matches, with that one loss and one draw. So maybe it's time for things to change for the Quakes.
It,
As far as player availability report, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're going to say something?
it's really funny. I don't know if you guys saw it on Twitter, but like our admin was having a field day. We were calling it like the quinceanera. We were calling it like everyone was making like
Yeah.
memes about your guys' loss. Ricky Pooj responded to our like admin and some of our fans, showing like the history that you guys had beaten us a bunch of times. Everyone's like, "Dog, you didn't play like in any of those games. What are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah. I mean, but you like to see that from him, right? Because
yeah,
that
yeah,
means that he's really invested
he
in
cares.
in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
club
I
culture.
think he likes it over there. I think he really likes it in LA.
Well, as far as player availability report, we haven't heard anything from after last night's match. As always, it's just Ricky Puig who's still missing. We keep hearing that we're getting closer to the day where he's gonna hit the field. No rush, Ricky. Take it easy, man. Stay in your Bacta tank as long as you need, and maybe you can show up sometime in late July, August, whenever. There's nothing going on here that you need to help. And then once again, we keep saying that Carlos Emiro Garces is one yellow card away from suspension and a fine, and that's it for LA Galaxy. What can you tell us about the Quakes?
Lord knows. We're one strong wind gust away from half our players being injured, it seems like.
Damn.
I think Nico Jacaris is still out, but he wasn't getting game time. And then if there was one more who like had an upper body injury, but I also don't think they were like in the rotation anyways. It looks like most of our guys are back. But again, I don't know. We just played on Wednesday and we played our full strength squad, arguably. Maybe like one or two guys that weren't there because they were still injured. Bruno Wilson, I know he's still injured, but like as far as like who I expect to be starting, that was like everyone. Um, so I don't know if it was like we need to get the win versus team that's a little closer to us, and we'll play the B squad versus LA Galaxy. Um, what it was, but it'll be interesting to see because we don't know if we're going to rotate or because we had all this rest, we're going to play the full squad versus you guys. It's going to be interesting. We all the fans were wondering.
Yeah, as far as LA Galaxy is concerned, they put out with arguably like their best roster you could put out there, and they still managed to look very listless and lost against a Colorado team that really needed a win. They hadn't scored a goal in more than 240 minutes, I think, and they put two past the Galaxy in the span of 4 minutes, and then just held on. Um, to be honest, they could have scored like four, maybe five goals in L Galaxy, but our goalkeeper Mitrovic, he made a few good saves, and one of the shots hit the post. So the LA Galaxy defense has always been an issue. And even with the championship, it continued to be so. It's just that last year, especially in that latter half of the season, the LA Galaxy offense was so dominant that it took some of the attention away from the issues with the defense. But now that they lack that firepower, or they lack that midfield that can control and dictate the pace of the match, so much pressure is falling on that defense that they crumble, and it's very, very difficult for this LA Galaxy team to try to bounce back after they've given up a goal. Um, I would like to share with you a ref report, but Pro hasn't released the ref assignments for the match. In fact, I keep telling people I think it's really silly. Yeah, that the Pro website has been flagged for phishing, and they've been very lax, they've been slacking with their ref assignments, where they
You could have
will
just said they were
sometimes.
slacking with the refs. You could have just stopped it right there, honestly.
Let's just stop right there, right? I mean, I just think it's so funny. We had Matt Pollard on here to preview the match against Colorado, and he was just like, "Can you believe it? The irony of the Pro website being flagged for phishing. How is that like that? I mean, Pro refs, man, you got to give it to them, man. Their website is all shady." Um, but yeah, so with no ref report, just based on what we have seen, the performances from both teams in last night's matches, Saz, what's it gonna take for the LA Galaxy to defeat the Quakes this time around?
Is Payne still healthy? uh,
Yeah, he's there. He's just trying too hard right
no,
now.
I promise you, he finds a way versus us. It's pure hate in his heart. Here's what needs to happen. Our defense, they forgot one of the first things you learn as a defender. Not one of the first things, but in my mind, it's a very, very, very simple concept. If one defender either steps forward or goes for the ball in the air, the other two or three drop 10 yards, 5 or 10, 10 realistically, maybe 15, and they get tight to cover that middle or a potential bounce ball back. I don't know if we think the Antichrist will come up if we do that, but we refuse to do it. It is sacrilege. How dare me even bring it up? I apologize. We will not do that. So it just takes one challenge on a flick and Paintsel to run behind. And you would think because Paintsel's really fast, we would sag off a little bit. No, 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 no. We'll come in late for the challenge and miss it, and he'll run right by us. Now, the good news for us is Daniel looks to be healthy, and he's pretty good overall, especially in one-on-ones. Um, Late runs as well. We do not cover. If you run and you're a little bit behind, you're a little behind. Go ahead. Mi casa, su casa. You know what I mean? Like, feel free to run in the box late and shoot. That will be your best effort, and then just getting a goal early. Even though I was talking about Grit FC, and I think we have such offensive power, and you guys obviously have been struggling defensively. Um, I can see us crumbling defensively ourselves, and it does not take a lot. So it really is relying, I feel like, on Paintsel for you guys if you want anything. Now, I don't know who number 11 is. I forget who that is for you.
Gabriel Peck.
Don't even leave him on the bus. That is the other thing you guys need to do. Leave him behind. I could not believe that was a professional soccer player. He had 1 foot. It was comical. I don't know if that was just the worst game he's ever played in his life, but
He's had some bad ones this year. Yeah.
yeah, that was horrible when I came to watch. Like it was, like my friends and I were like, "Oh, there's a goal, there's a goal," because like it was all of us like supporting the Quakes, obviously, and then surrounded by LA, and we're like, "Oh, here it comes!" They're all gonna yell at us, and then we'd start crying, laughing that he missed a chance or whatever because we couldn't believe it. So leave him behind. Play with 10 if you have to, right? Have Paintsel
Damn.
somehow get a flick on behind. If you can see goals, you can see goals. Just realize that you will score versus us.
Oh man. Well, let's hear predictions then. Zaz, what did you say?
Oh god. Okay, if it's our B team, you guys win 3-2. If it's our A team, I think we win 3-1.
You know what? You read my mind because I'm thinking the LA Galaxy is going to go up there and they're going to suffer another loss. This team hasn't shown me anything as far as doing well on the road. They've taken a lot of difficult losses on the road. I mean, think back to that 7-0 smash against
Yeah, that's
the
crazy.
Red Bulls, right? I mean, it's been pretty bad. Like I said, they're on they're a tour of altruism this year, making everyone else feel good, right?
Were the Red Bulls
Uh,
any good, or were you guys just that bad? Because we're
no, the
playing
Red
them.
Bulls are pretty good. The Red Bulls are pretty good.
Okay.
And but yeah, they were out. They were out for blood that day, and they definitely gored the LA Galaxy. They gored them, and then they picked them up and gored them again and again and again. It was pretty ugly to watch.
Yeah.
But if you don't like the LA Galaxy, then it's probably a good popcorn watching time, right?
I mean, that was
Um,
that's been us for so long. I can't even hate. Like if that actually if that was LAFC, I'd be oh my god, I'd be feasting online. I would just be trolling all their fake fans that they'd be losing. But no, I understand your pain, so I fully get it. Plus, I like you guys, so
oh,
it's
thank you,
not
man.
super fun to watch. Also, you have a super
Um,
chat that I can answer real quick.
Yeah, we'll get to that right now. But
Okay.
just real quick, just to wrap it up. My prediction is LA Galaxy is going to lose 3-1. As far as goals, who's going to score for LA Galaxy? Let's just give it to Joseph Pinto because he's been trying really hard, to the detriment of his teammates. I would even get go as far as to say, but just because you brought up his name and that's just how the universe works, maybe it'll be Gabriel Peck, who number 11, could be that guy.
I'm putting this forward. I will step forward for all Earthquakes fans, and I'm going to put this forward. If he scores, it should be worth 3 goals, 2 or 3 goals. Every
Damn.
goal he score, if he gets an assist, that should also count as a goal. And I'm not talking like he shot it and like it hit off the crossbar, and then like someone else got in. Like if he gets an actual assist, count that as a goal too, for all I care.
Well, you guys heard it.
Yeah.
Bryant, do you agree?
Yeah.
There we go. So, Adam, we have a super chat from Adam. Bryant, let's hear the music. Yes. Adam, $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Adam. Yes, are San Jose in Leagues Cup this year or the U.S. Open Cup?
We're just in Open Cup, but we are making a hell of a run. We are playing Austin at home on like not next Tuesday, but like the Tuesday after. And then if we win that, we have like 2 potential games left. So it'll be interesting.
That's really exciting, man. I miss the Open Cup. I know a lot of people are saying,
And fun.
"Damn, Edgar, the
Yeah.
old man, Open Cup," and I love the Open Cup. Um, and it's something that I always call to. Like Galaxy's won it twice. I know the Quakes have won it. Why?
I couldn't tell you. I gotta be honest.
Pretty sure they
Um,
won it at least once.
us and winning. That's it's. You would figure I'd be able to remember the 5 times it happened. Um, I think you take league because I was a hater on League's Cup, and then like it's not just because we won that one game 5-0 or 6-0 last year. Like I was at the Tigres game where I think we still lost like 1-0. Um, you take the League's Cup production, the fire and the music and the atmosphere and all the extra MLS goods that they keep stored away only for when Messi comes in town. You put that into the Open, but with the Open Cup and these young teams coming through and they're excited they get to play these big boys and these kids that don't get to play, they get to play. Oh my god, that's the game I want to see. That's the competition I want to see.
Yeah,
I do prefer the leagues or the Opens Cup though, just with the League Cup production.
yeah. It's something that I know Don Garber has addressed in the past. He actually called out U.S. Soccer Federation saying you guys don't do enough to promote the U.S. Open Cup. But I think that MLS should also put their foot forward and do something to embrace this tournament, which is the one thread that connects all the eras of U.S. soccer from the very beginning of the footballing world here. Um, E Super One says, "Tell Arena to keep it under 5, please,
Yeah.
for all time's sake."
Yeah, I mean it's been crazy. I was gonna say we've had actually had quite a few high scoring games this season. But I'd say the vast majority have Actually, no, we've been all over the place. I can't say anything. Yeah, sure, we can keep it under 5.
Oh,
uh,
thank you.
yeah. I mean, he says things like that, but then it's like there's no promotion relegation, there's no equal pay for the Club World Cup. There's no like you put your foot down. You're the one who makes these rules. Like half the teams didn't even enter, and then the ones that did, like only half of them then put forward an actual team and not like the reserve team. So it's like you're all showing glamour for this, that, the other, but the dollar talks a lot louder, and you're going for the dollar.
Oh, we got another super chat, and this is a good question. Adam, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. And I will add to that too, by the way. The question is for Saz, is there any rivalry with LAFC? And as an addendum, San Diego.
Personally, yes, for the first. Personally, I hate them. I hate them. I can't.
Wow.
How do you before you've played your first professional soccer game have a documentary about your team and people saying they're gonna die for the club and the history of the club? like like um it's also annoying because like we have a very large Hispanic base here. So like we get no one at the games all the time, and then Carlos Vela comes into town, and suddenly we are packed out, and I got to pay twice as much for parking and all these other seats, right? So
Yeah.
that's been annoying. No, I don't think they really see us as much. I can't stand them. I'm rooting for Jeremy Abobasi and Jeremy Abobasi only. I really like him. He's a stand-up dude. Really solid guy. Great player too. I can't believe I was really sad to lose him. Um, so I'll root for him to score versus us because I know we did him dirty. Um, but then we win the game. That's a good scenario for me. And then for San Diego, it was kind of like a they tried to force themselves in, and people were talking about it, and then they tried little broing us, and then we were just like, no one knows who you are. Um, and then it's it's a little sad because one of our we have this kid named Oscar Verhoeven who's like the real deal. It seems like as far as kids, but just Bruce didn't want to fit him in the system or didn't fit him in the system. So now he's gone to San Diego and he's starting and he's doing really well for them. And it's just like, oh my god. And then I learned a rule that you can't play against your loan teams, but it's just no one knows that because there's like never loans in MLS to other like MLS teams.
And you guys have yet to play San Diego, right?
Yeah, no, we're playing them August 17th.
Oh man, you better get that Smurf Village fortified, man.
Actually, you know what? I'm excited to play them. I'm wearing I don't know if you guys can see it. I went to school at UC Santa Barbara,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
have
yeah.
Emil Boateng played on the team. And for those of you that don't know, this we're the Gauchos. What our
Gauchos, yeah.
position is, we don't have a football team, so like we go all in on our basketball and soccer team. Shout out AJ Mitchell, NBA champion, went to school there same time as me. Yeah, no, AJ was so good. Oh my god. But anyways, back to the soccer. When we score goals, we throw tortillas onto the field. Like it's been a tradition for years. So I'm gonna bring a tortilla into the stadium because Boateng played for Gauchos, and I'm like, yo, Boateng, can you? I'm gonna wear my Gaucho gear. I'm like, can you sign my tortilla? And then I'm gonna try to get a photo with him with the tortilla.
Dude, you never know. Security might tackle you for throwing a tortilla on the field.
Yeah. Well, we have a
Hey,
little bridge area where they come over beforehand, so I'll get there early and be able to get them.
all right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on and joining us tonight. Any parting words for Galaxy fans or for just in general?
Um, Bibles are at every store. You guys may need it. Whatever you guys go to. Also, be safe at your games because obviously, back to our more serious topic earlier. Everyone, remember, everyone's a person. Everyone's a human. Love each other. As far as your season, again, Bibles are like at every store. Whatever curse you need to uplift, holy water, I'm sure you can find
Oh my
somewhere.
god.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why someone's gonna clip this after number 11 on your team gets like a hat trick versus us? Yeah.
Well, socials, buddy. Where can people find you in case they want to follow the earthquakes or just follow your wacky adventures? Because you do have some pretty wacky adventures with the Quakes, right?
Yeah, I haven't posted in a while. I'm starting to transition to other things, but I still do appear on podcasts and stuff. I appear on the Tectonic Takes podcast. They're really cool. There's also the Aftershock guys. They're a little more with the team if you want to know more earthquake stuff. There's a guy on Twitter named Quakes Talk. I don't know if he has a podcast, but he has some pretty cool content and edits I've seen here or there. Yeah, I mean, it says what's shaking down here if you want to. No need to. Like, follow these guys. This is a great show. This is really fun to be on every time. Yeah.
Well, buddy, for me and Bryant and the rest of the News Across the Galaxy crew, we thank you once again for joining us tonight. Thank you for coming on with us, Has. Dude, it's always really fun talking to you. Having gotten to meet you. I'm looking forward to seeing you down here again next year.
Yeah.
You're gonna drive down, man, right?
Yeah. I gotta get another player to say, give me a jersey. Yeah, actually, Ian Harks after the game said he's got to get me later in the year.
There you go, man. Hey, hopefully, we're gonna run into the Quakes again this year in the playoffs. Right, whatever. But for now, we're looking forward to another entertaining chapter in the Cali Clasico, and hopefully, a Galaxy victory. And as we always say on here, keep on nagging and Wu-Tang for life. Let's go.